Welcome back. I'm really glad that you decided to continue checking out my series, and if this is your first time viewing, definitely check out the very first video, which is an introduction to this series. And obviously, this is all about architecture and entrepreneurship. I'm going to be talking about my first semester and second semester of architecture in this particular short video, and I'm also going to explain what kind of student am I, so that way maybe you can understand what kind of student are you? What kind of professional are you aspiring to be? That's a very big question because, well, some people just don't know that answer. I believe that I knew the answer since I was 4 years old, as I mentioned. Box, triangle, rectangle, rhombus. That was the first house that I designed with my sister, laying on my floor spread with paper everywhere, you know, and I began creating, and that's my earliest, strongest memory of my entire life was what I really love to do. So, first semester, second semester, I learned how to build models. Here is a 9 square grid model. And a 9 square grid is a grid that architects use commonly to design with. And we basically got to design our own 9 square grid. And this original model was crap, okay? This was crap because I chose to, well, some of the instructions in architecture school are hard to come by. Sometimes you don't know everything. You may not understand the instructions that well. But what they want to do is they want to see how well you can interpret instructions. They want to see how much of brain power are you going to use to find a solution to a problem. They said, I want you to design a 9 square grid, build 3 small boxes like this, 3 small grids like this, and then you're going to make a bigger model, which was this. This was the final model, and let me tell you, this model did not, it did not make it. Well, I had another square on the bottom that was this same size actually, so it was something kind of like this, where this was supported above a like a foyer area, whatever. But moral of the story is, you learn how to build models, and you learn how to have a certain respect for quality of your models. Now, I learned in the first semester and second semester that the quality of the models that you build as an architect, whether it be physical, 3D, sketching, that quality that you showcase will be a mirror image of the kind of architect you are. So if you're going to do crappy work and crappy models just because you want to get the assignment done, that doesn't show that you're a strong architect, and I know that for a fact. Um, One of the things that I learned about building models was, here I have this very small model. You can see this kind of, whoops, you can see this kind of like diamond cut shape here in the corner. And it wasn't until I started building the physical model that I actually realized what I wanted to do. And so you can see more clearly on this, what I want to call a master model. You can see it more clearly, and I've got some structural steel, and it actually looks a bit like a diamond in the corner. So I call this building the diamond ring. If you look at the top, there's like a hole where you can like put your finger through, like as if it were a diamond ring. And this is one of the diamond. Oops, can't see that. This is one of the cuts in the corner. And I'll post in this description of this video, I'll post images of the 3D model on the computer that I made. So that was one of the first things that I learned in architecture school, was how to build models, the quality of an architect. We learned that there are going to be times where you're going to have to really use your brain to figure out what is it that the school wants you to do. They may tell you to build a 9 square grid, but you have to think about, what does that mean to you? Everybody has different assignments. Everybody's going to come up with something different. Now, what you come up with is very important because it shows who you are, how you think. And sometimes professors don't always communicate as much as you would want them to, because they would rather give you minimal instruction and to let you go. They want you to be a creative. They want you to be the architect of tomorrow today. And especially at Academy of Art University, that's why I love my school, because they allow me to be the architect of tomorrow today. This is why I dress the way that I dress. And actually, I want to get a bit more comfortable, and I recommend you guys do the same. And that's what the school is all about. I mean, they really want you to be professionals, and you have to be professional. You have to learn about time management. It's not easy to manage time as a college student, especially as an online student. If you've ever been through an online program, it can be very challenging because, like I said, it's not face-to-face communication. You have to learn how to properly communicate your ideas via text, if not audio, or how to produce videos such as the one that I'm making right now to communicate to a professor your intention. Um, I learned that sometimes things go wrong, even at the school. We had some tests that were out of order. We had some of the material for the program that were out of order. But as a student, I stepped up and I said, hey, department, I think that there may be an error in this test or this quiz. And they said, you know what, we agree, and there is. So we're not going to hold you accountable for such mistakes on our part, being the university. So you cannot be scared to step up and speak your mind. You have to really show them that you take control, either as a student, as a professional, as an entrepreneur. And this goes to all majors. Whether you're going to be an interior architect, engineering architect, architecture engineer, structural architect, whatever. I mean, all these qualities you can apply to any career, really. So that's really what I learned out of the first semester. I mean, I also learned about things like overhead base planes, depressed base planes. What does that mean? You know, how you might go to some areas and they have stairs that goes up to them. Well, a raised base plane adds importance and emphasis to a particular area. So maybe the raised base plane is a monument or a statue. It makes that statue or monument more important because it's higher up. We call that hierarchy, um, and we learned about hierarchy, which, hierarchy can be by size and shape. For example, take these two models. This is an example of hierarchy by size. Obviously, this one is more important, it's more detailed because it's bigger, and this one is a lot smaller. And I started with this one and I moved my way up. And as I went from small to large, the amount of detail and the vision that I had as a designer increased as, well, the scale increased. I learned about scale. I learned about, designing at a 16 scale versus a 32nd scale, where you can add a lot more detail with much smaller scales because, well, you can add more details, but you can also add fewer details. It just depends on what you want to do. What else did I learn? I mean, I really learned to just, make time. Don't just focus on doing schoolwork. Focus on, if you want to be an architect, they say statistics show 50% of us, that means that, you and me, one of us is probably not going to become a licensed architect. Now, whether we get a degree, okay, yeah, we can get a degree, but maybe you don't want to be licensed afterwards because it costs too much money. Maybe you realize you want to go into a different area of architecture. Either way, they say about 50% of students that attend architecture school do not become licensed architects. And I think it's because it's very competitive. It's not easy. I've had so many trial and errors that I had to face this last 2 semesters, but I think it was very much worth it. Um, I'm in summer break right now. I'm doing a lot of AutoCAD 3D modeling, so I'm actually taking these school projects and putting them into my portfolio that I would use in the real world. That's the kind of student that I am. So again, my original question was, what kind of student are you? Um, think about that. And I highly recommend starting a sketch journal. This is actually a blue Kansan sketch journal. This was before I actually learned anything about perspective. This is completely a flat image. My professor My professors would hate this particular drawing, but I liked it. I was learning how to draw and illustrate with watercolor color pencils. I was learning. Um, but I'll just show you one or two more things, and then I'm going to close this video off. Here's actually um, perspective. This is we've got a single point. This is a 1-point perspective. It took me a second to get my brain to focus, but this is a 1-point perspective. This is just basically squares and showing overlapping of shapes. Now I had to do the same assignment with a 2-point perspective. This was one of my first fundamental drawing skills that I learned in architecture school. So this is a 2-point perspective. You see that there's 2 vanishing points, a left one and a right one, and it's basically the same kind of shapes, but just drawn in a slightly different perspective. And we learn what perspectives are good for a particular type of drawings. We had to draw chairs and stuff like that, and if I can find it for you, I'll show you. Oh man, or girl, let me show you another one of the assignments we had to do, which was to draw ellipses in relation to a horizontal line, and just like lots of ellipses, we had to basically draw symmetry, and it was not very fun. And lastly, here are some illustrations of shadow. We can see an egg with light and just a sphere in shadow. We learned about how shadows, as they're closer to an object, they're a lot darker, more dense, and as they fall off, as the light falls off, the shadows also become softened. And we talk about reflectional shadow and hot spots and stuff like that. So this is what I learned in my first 2 semesters of architecture school. So I'm going to write a book, and you, the viewer, you're helping me to produce content that I can actually put into a book. So think of this as a series, but as a blog. It's really just a journal showcasing my years of architecture school. I highly recommend you to have your own, sketch journals, have your own bit of books, and don't just, these books are from previous semesters. Don't just have, books for the semester and then don't read them. I was actually able to use all of these books as references for my second semester too. So think about how to get the more uses out of your books, materials, and really save money. I'm going to talk a lot about saving money, how I bought my books for discounted prices. I have large 4-foot rolls of craft paper, tracing paper that I got off of Amazon Prime. As a college student, you can actually use Amazon Prime for free for 6 months, and you get free shipping for 2 days. You can't beat that, guys, right? Or girls. Yeah, let's go to another series, and actually we can start talking about my projects. And I'm going to try to post a new video maybe every 2 days, every 3 days, because I'm going to have lots of content for you. So I don't expect you to watch everything every day, but I want to make sure that I'm going to be posting frequently. Well, I'm just going to be posting a lot of content, put it that way. So definitely enjoy the content. Post some comments below if you happen to like this video, this series. Share some of your links to your online portfolio so we can all, as a community, give each other encouragement and support as we go through our journey to becoming a licensed architect. All right, I'm Phil Bailey, and I'll see you guys next time.